Hey everybody, this is Dennis with the Weathered Wheel. It's been a while since we posted a video, so I figured we'd let you in on this little transformation we got going on for a customer here. We got this nice little French bedroom set. She wants these two pieces done in just a basic white with a light distressing, black hardware on everything. And these two we're going to do in an accent color. Fusion there and there. See, they're in pretty rough shape. We need some sanding down, cleaning. See this dark buildup in the cracks and crevices? This is what gives you such a hard time when you're painting white. This is what's going to bleed through. It's just buildup of varnishes and grease and just whatever else. And anything that's water-based, it's going to bleed through. Doesn't matter if it's paint, primer, whatever. The only way to fix it is to wipe it down with lacquer thinner and then prime the whole piece in an oil-based primer. This piece here's got some veneer ripping off of it, so since it's going to be painted, it's not really a big deal. We'll just clean the rest of this stuff out and then prime this whole piece. Sand it down smooth, paint it. Other than that, it's not too bad a shape. So we'll begin with taking off the hardware, which is pretty simple. It's a flathead screwdriver. We'll take those screws out and pull right off. We'll set them to the side and we'll get started. All right, we got all the hardware off. Next step is going to be to find any of the rough spots, like this right here. It's going to have to be sanded down smooth. Sand that scratch out. And just kind of go over the whole piece with a fine grit sandpaper to get rid of that gloss so the paint will stick better. So let's get the sanding. Sanding has been done. It's all deglossed. So we sanded out all the scratches. Everything's nice and smooth. We cut the remainder of that veneer out, sanded that plywood side so it's nice and smooth. Once it's painted, you won't even be able to tell it's missing. What we do next is, they've been dusted off. Next, we're gonna wipe them down with lacquer thinner. You don't want to soak it because then it'll just make a gooey mess. You just damp your rag with it and just wipe the dust off. And that's also gonna help degloss any of the spots you missed with the sander. And it will degrease it. That's the best way to clean it, in my opinion. Also neutralizes anything that's on the surface, so your paint's gonna stick real good. All right, let's get to cleaning. All right, so here's where we're at now. We got we removed the hardware, sanded everything down, got it smooth, got all the scratches out, all the bubbled up paint. And we got them wiped down, degreased. And the next step is gonna be the primer. I'm gonna use an oil-based primer because I know this stuff is gonna bleed, I can tell. Just by the way the finish looks and the age. If you just paint it white, it's going to bleed through. So we're going to use an oil-based primer to make sure we don't have any bleed through, and it's going to make the paint adhere better. So here's where we're at now. We got both of these pieces primed in our oil-based primer. This will ensure that we get no bleed through on our white top coat. You can see there's a little gap right here where we took the veneer out. So what we're gonna do here is take just some basic trim caulk, white, fill in that gap, and then she'll be ready to paint. The nightstands, they were already white, so they didn't need to be primed or anything. They were already painted. It turned out nice. Get the hardware painted Those will be ready to go. So now we're gonna get this caulked up. We're gonna spray our top coat. All right, we got the paint laid down now. These things are nice, bright white. Obviously they're still drying, but there's no bleed through. You go over here in the light where it's better. No bleed through whatsoever. Now some of these cracks and crevices are harder to see once you get it, or until you get it painted. Once you put that white paint on there, they stand out like a sore thumb. So we'll go back once this is completely dry, caulk those up, and then just touch it up with some paint. So there's a couple more, all that kind of stuff right there. There's another one. Won't take but a few minutes. It's just that kind of attention to detail is what makes these pieces stand out. So once this is dry, she wants them lightly distressed, and we'll scuff them up a little bit. Paint the hardware. And this is fusion paint, so it's got a built-in top coat. So no need to wax it, no need to put a coat of poly on it. It's all good to go. Alright, it's day 2 on this little Frenchie project. We let the paint dry overnight. Got up this morning and started distressing. The distressing's done. She just wanted light distressing, so as you can see, we only hit the lines. The next step is going to be to go through, touch up any nicks or maybe where my hand might have slipped and distress where it's not supposed to be. Like there's a little nick right there. We got to get that fixed. That's actually where a bug got in the paint. We had to sand it out. And we'll have to go in and clean up. A little bit of overspray in there. If this was mine, all those little details, I probably would not be worried with it, but since I'm getting paid to do this, it's got to be done right. And since I do this for a living, if I spend 2 or 3 days on one project, well, that's not going to pay the bills. So we've been doing this in between. Little dining room set. Buffet, this is done in limestone, fusion mineral paint, dark walnut stain. 4 chairs, bench, buffet, table. All right, so next all we gotta do is get the hardware painted and clean up those little messy spots, little touch-ups. And then it'll be complete. Here it is, finished project. Nightstands, dresser, matching mirror, chest of drawers. Now you kind of get an idea of what goes into these furniture pieces when you're bringing us to have them redone. It's a lot of work, but it's worth it.